On today's episode of the Wild Party podcast, I'm joined by the amazing Adria Marshall, founder and CEO of Ecoslay, a plant-powered sustainable haircare brand that's redefining the way we care for natural textures. Adria's journey started in her kitchen with a single jar of styling gel and a deep frustration with the lack of clean, effective products for curly hair. What began as a personal quest soon blossomed into a thriving business that now serves customers around the world. We dive into her passion for sustainability, her work with urban farms and schools, and why she made the switch to eco-friendly packaging. Adria is a powerhouse of passion, purpose, and plant-based beauty. And I know you're going to love hearing her story. Let's get the party started. Welcome to the Wild Party podcast, where we celebrate the visionaries behind vegan, ethical, and sustainable business. In each episode, we'll dive deep into their journeys, uncovering the why behind their mission-driven business. I'm your host, Stephanie Lahart. Tune in with me for passionate discussions about overcoming challenges, innovative marketing strategies, and the power of using business as a force for good. So whether you're an entrepreneur seeking guidance or a conscious consumer wanting to support impactful brands, join us as we explore the stories behind the businesses that are changing the world for the better. Let's get the party started. And today I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast Adria Marshall, the founder and creator of Ecoslay, the hair care line that was founded on the premise of using natural ingredients that are good for you and the environment. But it really goes beyond that with the dedication to teach, share knowledge, and uplift the community. If that sounds like a big call, it is, but I can tell you, she has nailed it. Welcome to the show, Adria.
Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited to speak to you. So, as I just told you a few minutes ago when we were doing our pre-conversation, I have spent way too much time on your website. Wow, it is delicious and it makes me literally want to buy every single product. But you're going to have to tell me specifically what products will be good for my hair. But before we
Yeah.
get into me, because this is about you, I want to hear from the beginning how this all started, because I know it started with your own personal hair care journey, as it has with many of our entrepreneurs. So tell us, what was that like for you?
Well, so it really starts. I'll try to keep this as short as possible. So you feel free just to cut me off at any point. It really starts back when I was in college. And so up until that point, my hair was in a relaxed state. So my mom's using a relaxer on my hair to keep it straight. So I had no idea that I had curls under there. So of course you go to college, mom's not footing the bills as much anymore. So can't get those touch-ups as regularly as I was before. And that's when I noticed the waves and the curls growing. So that really piqued my curiosity. And that's where it began. And it was a long journey. Just first, like, am I going to embrace it or not? And then once I decided I was, then which products am I going to use? It's a whole new world out there going from relaxed straight hair to curly natural hair, right? So that's when I discovered that there really weren't any products out there for my hair type. There were products out there for Black people with relaxed hair, Black people with a Jerry curl, I'm dating myself, white people with curly hair, but no Black people with just curly hair. So I started trying all the other types of products just to find something that worked. And by that time, I'm out of college, but like the budget is really, really tight, and hair products are really expensive. Even back then, they were expensive. Right now, they're crazy expensive, but even back then, they were expensive. So the money started to add up a little bit, which prompted me like, okay, because I'm an engineer by trade. So like, can we kind of problem solve and kind of predict ahead of time which products are going to work before we purchase them. So that's when I learned that, I can flip over the bottle, see what's in the ingredients. They're ordered by volume. Then I can kind of put together which products may work, which products are not going to work. Well, when I flipped over the ingredients or the bottle to look at the ingredients, I noticed all the crap that was inside of these products. Okay. So that was an eye opener. And I'm a gardener. I've been gardening since I was little. My mom was a gardener. My grandfather was a gardener. I'm from Alabama. It's like part of what you do. You go to church, you garden, yeah, and you watch football. That's what you do in Alabama. So it was just, it was ingrained in me. Really good ingredients, the purpose of them, really good food. Like the best things come from the ground. And it's hard to be a gardener without having a passion for sustainability. Like they go hand in hand. So all that was ingrained into me as a child. So I was like horrified when I saw what was inside of these products. And then, but it was quickly changed into like a light bulb or an epiphany or a delightful moment when I noticed with my engineering background that the products that worked best for me were those that contained aloe vera, flaxseed, marshmallow root pets. And like, oh, great. And what was great too about that is like I can get these from my farmer's market right down the street. And maybe one day I can even grow these. So that was super exciting. So that's when I started going to my farmer's market, watching tons of YouTube channels, seeing, okay, well, flaxseed is in here. How do they do that? Oh, you can boil flaxseed to get the mucilage from it. Oh, you can boil the marshmallow root the same way. Here's how you add in these sorts of things, whatever. So I would leave my 9 to 5, and this was just my hobby. Now, I mentioned to you that I'm an engineer by trade. I went to the University of Alabama, and I'm a computer science major. So I was a software dev at the time. And then I quickly turned into a project manager because I'm a Virgo and I have a stickler mindset of things being done a certain way and done on time. And my dev team was really getting on my nerves because they were always late. So like, what can I do about this? There's this thing called project management. We can get them in order, right? So I transitioned to a project manager background. Well, to be a really good, I told you it's a long story, Stephanie. So you just feel free to edit as you will. But but being a project manager in the field where you have a skill set is invaluable because I know when my dev team is like blowing smoke because I can do it myself, right? And so that's when I decided, okay, let me create a store of my own and like the same type of features that they're putting on the stores for our clients at my job, I'm putting on my little store. So when they tell me that it takes 10 hours to do something like, well, that's not true because it took me like 2, you know? So just as I can cross check and kind of validate and stay up to speed and keep my skills sharp too at the same time. So all that being said, and it's gonna all make sense in a minute. So I'm at home after hours mixing together products, back of my head thinking maybe one day, nothing really serious, really just concerned with my own hair, popping products on my store as I make things, you know, like maybe one day, like they put a product on, I get my product on, they get their Instagram page up. Let me go get my Instagram page up for my business too, right? I'm at MailChimp at this point. And at MailChimp, we really have a passion for helping our small business customers. So I'm just doing the same thing, right? So long story short, by this time years have passed. I mean, I'm just fiddling and fumbling in the kitchen. And I am all up in the Instagram comments and YouTube comments, just chatting with people about their hair. We're all trying to figure this thing out together because at this point, there are quite a few of us who decide to ditch our relaxers and embrace our natural hair. So we're all just trying to figure this thing out. So I messed around, made a product that someone in YouTube I thought would enjoy too. We're just chatting. They're not influencers. We're just figuring it out. So I said, I think you'll like it. Ship it to her. Never heard anything back. Like, okay, fine. I'm using it. I love it. Then I am off work for the winter time, saved up all my vacation time to the end of the year, like we like to do. And orders start flying in on my site. That's what happens. So I go from zero at that time, you know, I've been doing this thing for a couple of years. So I had like 4 different products up on there. I may be getting like 7 orders a month, maybe. But imagine when I started getting hundreds a day. So I go from 0 orders on December 15th to over 1,000 orders on January 1st. I had to go back to work now and try to figure out how to keep this thing going or not. So I'm at a turning point then. I mean, I'm just mixing gel like the abundance of flaxseed that's in my kitchen. My husband's going crazy. What are these boxes? Like, what is happening? I thought you were on break. I don't know. They keep flying in and they've already paid me. So I need to ship them some gel, So it's just insane. And like I have to go back to work. So I reached out to a factory just to help me scale. Like I'm just help me keep pace with these orders. Because they're not slowing down at all. And I was again appalled because it just reaffirmed why I did this at the very beginning because they immediately wanted to change my formula. They weren't going to boil, strain anything. They wanted to swap out my preservative for one that I couldn't pronounce. I would not dare put that on my body. So it's like, no, we're going to keep this thing. We're just going to keep rolling. So I enlist my daughter to help. I enlist my mother-in-law to help. And we're just, I'm at work during the day, making product and shipping them off at night, every night to 2 a.m. Run to the 24-hour post office. You didn't know they do have these 24-hour post office. Became really friendly with the dock workers and all that. I falling asleep on 285. I mean, it was ridiculous. But now, fast forward, here we are, and I have 15 employees, and we still make every single batch by hand in small boxes, even though we're a multi-million-dollar company now with an international brand. And that's how we
Wow.
got started. Can you believe it? And it's all true.
I'm just sitting here giddy laughing. If you guys are watching the video version, please go look at the expression on my face because Adria literally just explained the Oprah effect there. Everybody always wanted to be on Oprah's show to be an overnight success, right?
Right.
But the question was always like, are you prepared for that level of success? Because
Exactly.
it's one thing to be playing around, as you know, in your kitchen. It's another thing to have the expectations of the masses suddenly
Yeah.
thrust upon you. And you're like,
Right.
oh, this is my moment. Like, how do I
Yes.
do this?
Right.
And it sounds like you were able to handle it, which is amazing because I do understand that stress. I'll just let you know personally for me with this podcast, I
Mhm.
had been trying to get some, momentum and stuff. And within the last month, I just got that momentum and I am so inundated with people trying to get on the podcast. I'm hitting my overwhelm point. So I understand when you're like,
Yeah.
I asked for this universe. I
Right.
just didn't expect it to come on a Monday. So
Yes.
with that said, I do want to backtrack. So, first of all, you and I have a lot in common. And I think it's funny because it's always the same old story. No matter what you're born with, you want the opposite. So, you're born with black hair. It is curly, it has special needs. I am a white girl born with white hair. So, my mother started perming our hair from the time I was like wee young, like 10 years
Yeah.
old. I
Yeah.
rocked the perm all through the 80s. Okay. I'm also dating myself here and even started bleaching on top of a perm. I don't know how I wasn't bald.
Right.
And I decide at some point in my mid 20s, I'm like, I'm going to go back to my natural color. I'm not perming my hair anymore. I start letting my hair grow out. And lo and behold, guess what, Adria? I had naturally wavy hair under that
Never
perm.
knew. Never knew.
I was like, Mom, I don't think we had to do all that. She's like, No, your hair should. My mom is obsessed with curly hair. She's like, No, it could always be curlier. So I was like, whatever. So I understand that whole, like, I didn't even know what I was dealing with. But, in the same way, like, the black community deals with certain things, like the white community too. And we're all sitting there always trying to figure out what should we use.
Yep.
So now we have way too many products at the drugstore that are all trying to sell us something.
Yep. Yep.
But the funny thing that I wanted to bring up about all that is this. We look at stuff on drugstore shelves with more credibility than the natural sector because we've moved so far away from understanding what's in our products and what it actually is.
Yep.
And then here is somebody like you, an entrepreneur, is like, I'm going to figure out what's actually in it and use the natural version of that.
Yes.
And I mean, back before we had this mass consumption, mass production, we used to be able to say, I'm going to put, avocado on my hair and that's my
Right.
treatment. And
Right.
now if you just say to somebody, oh, what do you do for your hair? Oh, I just mash some avocado. They're like, what? Weirdo.
Right. Yes.
So it makes sense, everything you're saying, like with the ingredient list now, because I'm at that point in my life too, where I'm like, I want to know what is going on my body.
Yep.
Also, I don't wash my hair every day. I think I wash it maybe twice a week,
Very
which is
good.
fine for me personally. So I
Great.
want to make sure like I'm using products that are good for me, good for the environment, and also, makes me feel like, I'm doing the right thing. So thank you for figuring all that out for me because I'm not an engineer and I did not pass the test. So with that said, on your journey then, so now you're having all these orders come in and you're reaching out to these chemists and suppliers and all. I did just see on your Instagram, it looks like you're still creating this in-house. But how are
Yeah.
you able to create the amount of product you now need to be able to fulfill global orders? Because you're in retailers, you have a thriving business. I mean, influencers are like banging down your door. I mean, I know because I have gone deep into your comments, girl. So, how are you now fulfilling this amazing moment that you're having?
We are so organized. We are so organized. Like I said, I'm a Virgo, and I'm a project manager. So I just project manage the hell out of it. And it's great. We just hired a new operations manager, and his first week in, he was like, it is amazing how you guys get all of this done and no one's working overtime. Like we just bang it out. We are super methodical. We're very intentional about things that we do too. I think also we have a very strong vision, which enables us to know things to say yes to and things to say no to. And that really helps as well. Also, our customer base, they are amazing. I mean, we make mistakes like everybody else, but our customers are along this journey with us and they really respect what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we both give each other a little bit of grace in this world, which goes a long way as well.
Definitely. And I can say you have like a rabid fan base. Like they are so behind
Mhm.
you. But I mean, it's hard not to be considering your tagline is slay your look, not the planet. I mean,
And
who's not going to be behind that, right?
that is the Slay Nation is fierce.
The sl
They are ride or die. Yes, they're amazing.
I love that. The Slay Nation. Okay, so we're now at the point where your business is really starting to take off. What was the timeline from you starting to first create products to you having this big, let's say,
Viral moment.
was that 10 years?
No, 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 no. I was so the official date of the company somewhere in 2015. That's when I just started. Okay. And you know what was so funny? So I'm doing my research for, really for my own hair still at this point. And I just got in married for the second time. And I'm watching all these YouTube videos, like I was telling you. My husband is just breathing down my neck to the point where I'm hiding my YouTube as he is walking in. So I thought, let me just start the company. Then I can say I'm working, and then he'll leave me alone. So that was in 2015. And our first hour, I spoke, talk about myself in third person, but the first product was an edge brush. It was the bamboo edge brush. And I created that because at the time and still, a lot of us are using a toothbrush to comb our edges, like brush them down. And it's not great for the environment. It's not good for your hair. So our bamboo edge brush is 100% bamboo. Even the bristles are bamboo. So that was the first product. And our tagline at that time was slay your edges, not the planet. But as I got that up on my site, up on Instagram, getting a few orders, nothing crazy. And I started working on other products, but nothing is really selling. I need to really emphasize the 7 orders a month thing. So this is not going anywhere. It's more like fulfilling this inner need. And it's exciting. It's giving me a chance to keep watching videos without my husband breathing down my neck. And I'm still trying to create that gel for my hair, right? Still trying to create that magic product. So that was 2015, and we went viral in 2018. So it was 3 years. So I do hear a lot of people that will say you're an overnight success. That's not really true. Although I will say that like I didn't have a business plan. Like the intent was not really to create the thriving business that we have now. The intent always was to create products for my own hair
Mm-hmm.
that were sustainable, and the passion for the ingredients and the passion for education was always there, and that is really still there. And so when I say that we're really intentional, I really mean that. Like we don't define a conversion in our business by our finances. That's like one of our success metrics, but that's like the fifth metric. The first metric is how many people did we teach about really good ingredients? How many people did we teach about how to care for their hair and which ingredients are good for their hair type? How many how many community partnerships did we form this year? How many people in the community did we help? How many people were we kind to? Like, and how many pouches did we recycle? How much did we reduce our carbon footprint this month? Those are things we really track. And then it's, oh, our finances. And that's really intentional. That way, no one really panics. I'm going to give you an example, if I may.
Hmm.
So, we got we got a call or an email today from our largest wholesale partner, because there was a labeling issue when our products reached Germany, because she's our largest wholesale partner. She is in Germany, and there was a labeling issue, and she's going to have to send the entire shipment as a pallet back
Mm.
because these two products um have a labeling issue, but they won't just pick out those two products, have to ship the entire thing back. We have to fix those two products, ship the whole order back, right? So
Hmm.
thousands of dollars we're gonna have to incur to ship it back because it's our fault, and then thousands to ship it back. But because our value is ingredient integrity and sustainability, we really want those labels to, and ingredient education, we want those labels to be right. So our immediate reaction was, let's fix it, not let's, like, I don't even know exactly how much it's going to cost, and that's not a factor. The
Hmm.
biggest factor is making sure that the customers know exactly what's inside of their products. And so that's kind of the mindset that we've drilled into our team. And it's really freeing. Like, we volunteer every month. And so we have a volunteer activity. Tomorrow we're going down to Atlanta Mission, and we're going to feed people out of the kitchen and just have the best time ever. And those are things we really love to do. And then the finances, thank God, they do come, but it's just not the driving factor. And that really helps us all just focus on doing the right things for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's amazing. And if you have ever heard or listened to any of the law of attraction content that's
Yes.
out there, it's all exactly about that, to do
Mhm.
something that truly is uplifting to you and the world. And then the money does follow. And people, oftentimes will get skeptical or just a little jaded and said, "Oh, yeah, you can say that now because you're so successful." But if you really do start with that intention, it does follow along those lines. And I did love when I saw on your website, reach one, teach one, because I'm all about that too. It's like it's more important for me to be, a light in the world than to
Right.
worry too much about what the size of my house or my car is, right?
Exactly.
Also, I'll just say I've never been in a situation where I've been especially concerned about that. I didn't grow up like that. And I can understand if you did come from an economic background where it was more of a factor, but also if you can let that go and relax a little bit into it and figure out really what does bring joy in your day, you will find that your days are more joyful. And I think you've totally figured that out. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, and you will sleep better at night too, which is an added benefit.
yeah, absolutely. I remember many years ago when I was looking for a marketing job before I started my own agency, I was applying for these jobs and literally I would send off an application and then immediately I would say to myself, I don't even want this job. I don't even want this job. And guess what? I didn't get any of the jobs because I kept
Right.
telling the universe I didn't want the job. But I felt myself still caught in the rat race of this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then figuring out to do it on my own was, way better for me because I'm like, oh, I can be creative. I can
Mhm.
figure things out. I can, help other people. So with that said, I know that teaching for you is such a big part of your brand and your business and everything. You actually created a program called, what's it called? The Ecobator?
Incubator.
Ecobator?
Yeah. The incubator. And what is so great about the incubator, so if you remember how I told you that we reached out to these factories and they wanted to change our formulas, they also wanted to put on us these huge order quantities, and it was so expensive. And so now, years later, we have erected our incubator program as a clap back to what happened to us. So there's no minimum order anything. And we offer brands the ability for formulation with plant-based ingredients, with a sustainable practice, with an ethical company, with very low minimums and a small batch. And I meet with them every single week and we talk about things that are working, things that are not working, and they just help them along this business journey. So we created this program to be the program that I wish I would have had when I reached out to that factory to scale.
Yeah, and it's so true because, like you said, they're telling you, well, this is the way it's done, and this is the way you have to do it. And if you're new to the game, you're like, oh, I guess this is it. So you start
Right.
compromising, and then the compromises never stop. And then suddenly you're left with a product or something that you don't feel comfortable even talking
Nope.
about. It's actually happened in my own business where I created something like that is not what I feel comfortable with. And then I just never sold it because I'm like, that's not it. So,
Mhm.
you know, kind of going back in the same way, it can be a product or service. If you don't truly believe in it, it doesn't resonate with you, it's not going to resonate with the world. So,
Exactly.
you have to truly believe. Let's talk a little bit about the gardening. Okay, so I did become an adult gardener as
Okay.
I grew in my life and my world. My mom was always into gardening, but for some reason I didn't pick it up. So I understand when you're saying, hey, when you're into gardening, you really start looking at things differently. In fact, I personally just finally started composting, which was so
Yep.
new and very terrifying to me. So, with that said, when you were deciding, the products to or the ingredients to use, you started using stuff that you grew. Are you still growing most of your ingredients?
So it actually was a little bit backwards. So at first I just started getting them the things that I knew I could grow, but I was getting them from the farmer's market.
Mm.
And then I was just boiling, straining. But in the back of my head, it was one day, and it's again lining up with that law of attraction mindset because I actually bought the domain Ecoslay Farms maybe 5 years ago, just hoping that one day we would work with farms. And so now we are working with farms that are growing the ingredients that we use inside of our products. And not only that, Stephanie, but we are tying together all of our values into one because the farm that we're working with is a charter school here in Georgia. It's the Chattahoochee Hills Charter School, and they have agriculture into their curriculum. And so the teachers teach them about farming practices, how to farm in small spaces, the importance of nutrition, which vitamins and minerals you get from plants, all the mental health benefits as you as a gardener know that you get from gardening. They teach them all of that stuff. And so the teachers are taking care of our plants and then teaching them all of this as part of their curriculum. And so when we go to the farm once a month to check on our babies, which are thriving there, we get to talk to the students about what they're growing and why we're growing it and all of that, and then talk to them about what happens to these plants when they grow up. And next month, they're actually coming to our shop where they can see us take the plants that they've helped grow with their teachers, and we can show them how we use them inside of our products. So it just nails every one of our values working with this farm.
Okay, I love that so much for a variety of reasons, but the main reason is this. One of my biggest pet peeves and one of my biggest soapboxes that I climb on top of is that we are too far removed from how things are made, how things are grown, and how we, nourish our bodies. We are so used to now walking to a grocery store, buying something in a box off a shelf, and we
Yeah.
don't even know what it is, and we eat it because we're told it's food, right? And then you look at the ingredients and it's like it's processed, you can't pronounce them. People are coming up with health issues. And we're so far removed from like, what does it mean to grow food? What does it mean to, have a farm? What does it mean actually? What does animal agriculture do to this planet? Like people, it's funny. If you ask a kid what a hamburger is made out of, they do not understand it was a living cow. That's so far removed. They're like, what are you talking about? Because I've done this test. So the fact that you are educating, our future generations on this, I love it that they can then get to see it in play. Like this is actually a real thing, and this is this is how things are made,
Yeah,
right?
right. And then they see that they can do it too. Like it's not that hard. And that's my biggest message is that yeah, yes, I'm an engineer, yes, I'm a hard worker, but it's really not that hard. It's putting one foot in front of the other and being consistent, having a firm vision and your goals in front of you. But if I can do it, you can do it. And here's how I did it. So that's really, really exciting to us. And my team loves working with these kids. So it is so exciting.
That sounds super exciting. Like I said, I'm just so on board with that. And it's also about like learning lessons and then moving forward with your business. Because when you first started, you were using some plastic packaging and now you've gone to all pouches to reduce, the environmental impact. In fact, I think I read that one of your pouches equals 6.67 plastic bottles, right?
You are on top of it. Yeah, so we've reduced our plastic intake by 85% when we ditched our plastic bottles and switched over to the pouches. So that was great. But there's a bigger story there too. Um, and it comes to back to the US and regulations and all of these sorts of things as well. But the so where did I even start? So part of the reason that we ditched our plastic bottles for pouches was, of course, to reduce our plastic intake. But the reason that was important was because we weren't confident that our bottles were being recycled, right? That's a big concern here. And so we had a recycling program where our customers sent back their bottles and we would take them down to our facility to make sure they were recycled. So that was cool, but then we heard all the stats about only 20% really gets recycled. So then we're like, okay, let's just nip this in the bud and not use as much plastic to begin with. So that's why we switched over. And then because our pouches still contain a little bit of plastic, well, we still want to make sure that gets recycled well. Well, not many recycling places in the US will accept mixed materials.
Mm-hmm.
So I called our recycling folks and double checked with them, will you accept this? They assured me they will accept it. Okay. So our customers are sending them back. They're getting points they can use on their next order. I'm sure you've heard of our recycling club, which is great. They send back pouches, they get points, everybody's happy. Well, I love this. I remember I tell you, I love our customers. So one day, one of our customers emailed me and said, your recycling facility is not recycling these. I'm like, what? They told me they were. I called them and they had changed their practice between that year
Mm.
without telling us. So they're still picking them up curbside, like they're recycling them, I guess tossing them into a landfill. So at that point, we stopped working with them, obviously. And then we formed a partnership with TerraCycle. We love TerraCycle. So each month, TerraCycle sends us a big box. And then as our customers send back their pouches, we fill it up. And then we send it to them and they assure us that they will recycle them. So those are the kind of things that we do, just taking those extra measures to make sure that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Very similarly, on the community front, if a customer dares does not like a product for whatever reason and sends it back to us, if it's gently used, we don't just toss those out. We have a partnership with Project Beauty Share. And so they take our gently used products and they donate them to a women's shelter. So we just try to make sure, to the best of our ability, that everything is covered from a sustainability, from a community and an education point of view whenever somebody chooses to do business with us.
Oh, I'm so glad you touched on the whole recycling myth situation because here's this. A couple of shows back, we actually had an amazing guest named Simmer Bettis, who has a recycling company based in Canada that he's now branching out to the US. It's called Soul Recycling. And in his show, he really kind of let us in on the dirty secret of recycling. Exactly what you said, that these waste management companies take the recyclables and say they're recycling them, but they're not. They're putting them into landfills. And he's
Yeah.
like, look, you got to understand their business model profit really comes from the landfills. He goes, so they're just sticking them there. And, we've seen some of the exposés even on YouTube where they'll put trackers in like a TV monitor to see where it ends up. And it ends up in another country in some dump yard. So the fact that like you are now like really understanding that and able to kind of mitigate that, that's great because I'm in LA and we think like we're so green forward, but I can tell you right now, looking at my dirty recycling bins in the back, with the way my neighbors throw stuff away because they never wash stuff out
Right.
either.
There you
I'm like,
go.
that's all going into a landfill. And we're
Yes,
all
it
standing
is.
there, like clapping our hands, like, we're so good. We're so good. And I'm like, no, 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 this is going into the earth, which, by the way,
Yeah.
I keep saying the earth, when all the humans are finally gone, is just going to be a planet of garbage if we don't change our ways.
It's like Wally.
It is. Oh,
Wally
I
was a
can't even watch
documentary.
Wally. I can't even watch Wally. It makes
Yeah,
me cry.
yeah, it's a documentary, is what it is.
It really is. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. So it's very, it's very uplifting to see business owners like you that are like, I see this and I'm trying to figure out ways to make it better.
Mhm.
So with that said, clearly that was a challenge you figured out. In your journey as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and as just an educator uplifter, what are some of the other challenges that you have encountered in building a business? And what kind of advice would you give to a budding business owner? Like what's the top three things they need to be aware of?
So, oh my gosh, I can't even talk about all the there are challenges every single day. I think, you know, the biggest thing that I've had to learn, so many things, is just to not view a failure as a failure, view it as a lesson learned and an opportunity. And if you change that mindset, it will make your life a lot easier. So that and your values, right? And so just like that moment I shared with you earlier today, I mean, I could have done a hissy fit and let me get on the phone with customs and like, but like, what do I need to learn? Let's tighten up how we do our labeling, right? Let's be thankful that we have a customer that's willing to work with us in this regard, right? And she was so sweet on the call, so like you can choose how to respond to things. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. Also, we don't try to tackle every problem. Like we stay in our lane. We know what our values are. Those are the things that we go after. Like we get a lot of noise. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? And yes, those things are important, but that's not our mission. So I would definitely say to come up with your values and don't come up with the values that you think will sell products. Come up with those values that tear at your heartstring. Come on, like those are your real values. I tell my clients often, tell me what breaks your heart. Tell me what makes you cry. Those are your values.
Mhm.
Those are things that you're going to fight for. Those are things that are more important than a dollar. Tell me the things that you do after the kids are gone to sleep and it's 10 o'clock. Tell me the things that you do in your free time. And those are things that you're passionate about. And so really discovering your passion, not the things that you think are going to make you money, because just like with us, we didn't make money until the third or fourth year, right? And so if you're just out to try to make money and that's your conversion, this is why so many businesses fail within the first year, first 3 years, right? So you really need to find what your North Star is, that real heart tugging North Star is, and stay true to that. Um, so so I can just rattle through some of our challenges. There are so many. I'm not a chemist, so let's just get it out in the open. So when I made this product that went viral, I didn't preserve it right. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't using the most sanitary standards. I didn't know what I'm just mixing in the kitchen like I do food, right? And so there were some issues there, but fortunately, I had started working with a chemist on another project and I was able to call him in. But again, it was like I didn't panic because I knew that I was providing such a great value and my customers were on that same page with me. And I think that's important too, being honest and transparent with your customers. Like we share whenever we make a mistake. If I make a mistake on my labeling, if something goes wrong, we are upfront with our customers. We don't hide anything. And I think that's important as well. So anyhow, so one mistake that I made was definitely along the lines of not following great practices when it came to a chemistry point of view, which I quickly rectified. I would say only make the same mistake once, like really dig down deep and create an action plan around that. So we've been really fortunate that way. So that's one mistake I made. Another mistake I made was not paying my team what they're worth. I will say, so here again, talking about the US and our regulations or the system here, you can just pay someone $7 and whatever. That's the minimum wage. It's really shady, in my opinion, that there's a definition of minimum wage and a living wage. That should tell you right then that the system is not on your side,
Mhm.
because They know that you need $21 to live here in Georgia, but the minimum wage is $7. That's a problem. Anyhow, so at first, when I realized I need to hire people, like, oh, that's all I need to pay. I'll pay $10. You get what you paid for.
Mhm.
And when you pay your staff what they're really worth, then they get invested in what they're doing. Then you get to sleep better at night. You get to do things that you're passionate about. You're not stuck having to label bottles and ship stuff and do things that don't bring you joy, and that frees you up, right? And then another thing that I learned is the importance of digging into the passions of your team. So every time I hire someone, I find out what they really want to do and what they love to do. And that becomes part of my vision board. And so I look for opportunities to incorporate those things into their lives. Like when I found out that one of my shipping team members, he creates comic books. Well, when we created a product called Mud Pie, we thought it would be really cool to have a mud monster. Let's make a comic out of that. Let's tag Jason. Jason made this outstanding comic, and now he's super proud. As part is on his portfolio, and now he's in SCAD. That's part of his portfolio. So just being able to really, and fun fact, my best one of this is that my current chemist was my very first customer service agent. And he's my customer service agent. And then one day, and then he became my operations manager, and he was looking at my formulas. And he told me, he's like, your math is wrong. I'm like, well, I'm not a chemist. I don't even. And he says, well, I have a chemistry degree. I had no idea. Well, now he's our in-house chemist. So he works with our outside chemist. So just lining up the passions and the gifts and the strength of your team is just a win-win-win situation, right? They come into work loving what they do. It takes something off your plate. They can do it better than you can. Believe me, he went and cross-checked all my formulas, made all the corrections to all my formulas, and it just makes life a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, that is great. And like you said, having people that are on your team that are also invested in the success of the business beyond what their paycheck says,
Right.
really builds the business in a way that we just haven't seen in a while. Everybody's very used to job hopping at this point.
Right.
And, there was a time not too long ago, you would start work in a company and you would work your way around the company or up through the company, and you might be there for 30 or 40 years. Like my father, for example, worked for Amtrak his entire life. He started in the yards and he worked his way up and became a conductor and was like working what they called the Northeast Corridor up and down Washington to New York. He loved his job. He was
Yeah.
so proud of it. Worked there for 40 years, retired, has a great railroad pension. We don't
Yes.
have that anymore. Now
Right.
you're just in and out. You barely even know who you work with. So I
Not
love
at
that you're building
Ecoslay.
that team that is invested
Yes.
in that way because, God, what a nice, heartwarming feeling that you matter and that
Yes.
your work matters.
Right. I love it. One of our hires from Atlanta Mission, I did tell you about Atlanta Mission, right? How we have them part of
Hmm.
our talent pipeline. So one of our hires, she wants to be a stylist. And so when we had the opportunity to have our Slay Salon at Atlanta Sustainable Fashion Week, we tagged her. Okay, you're up. You are a stylist. Go do your thing. So yeah, it's just fantastic. I mean, it just brings me joy. It brings them joy. And yeah, love investing in them. They all have 401ks. I mean, I just love investing in them, making them happy, letting them know that, I mean, I love having them here, but when they want to go do their own thing, I want to be a part of their story.
Right. Let them launch when they're ready to leave the nest. You go if you want to. I
Just
mean, I would
thrive.
listen. I'm already sitting here saying, I think I want you to hire me. This sounds like a great place.
It
But
is so great. It's a great place to work, for
But
sure.
since you brought up stylist, I do have to ask. We talked a little bit about my hair in the
Yeah,
beginning.
let's do
I've
it.
been all through your website. I really want to order the orange marmalade, but you
Yes.
looking at me knowing a little bit about me. What is my product, my first product I need to buy?
So you need three. Do you highlight your hair as well?
I do.
You need four. Okay. All right. So the first product you need, because your your strands are very thick. They're coarse is what we call them.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably hold on to oil a little bit. You probably
Mm-hmm.
need, and I'm not sure what you're using, but I think it's a little heavy. So I would recommend to start out with a clarifying treatment like our mud pie. It's just going to remove any excess product buildup, those environmental pollutants. So just once a month, just get everything nice and clean. Also, we should look and see what's inside of the ingredients of what you're using whenever you straighten your hair. I know you said that you wash about twice a week, right?
I do.
Are you using like a serum or something like that?
I'm not. I'm honestly just using a shampoo and a conditioner. And I wash my hair and I might put a little product on it. And then I don't really do anything for the next 3 days. In fact, if you guys are watching on video, I'm just going to tell you right now, I haven't washed my hair in about 4 days. That's why it's kind of looking flat right now. Because
Got
by
you.
the end
Okay.
of this with the oils, like now you can hardly
Got
see
it.
the waves,
That's
but
okay. That's probably what I'm seeing then. Okay, good. So yeah. But
I
check.
need easy hair. I'm not about like, super high maintenance girl. I'm a
I love
runner,
it.
so I'm always dirty.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, so definitely the clarifier just to get any build up once a month, just as a maintenance sort of situation. Then to wash on a weekly basis, I would say our chai latte. You'll love it. It smells just like a chai, but it's scented with cloves, cinnamon, vanilla, and ginger. It smells amazing. And then I want you to deep condition every week with our banana cream. You'll
Hmm.
love it. It's a deep conditioning mask for 30 minutes. It's not going to be too heavy on your hair. It's not going to weigh you down. Your hair is going to soak it up. Prior to using that, though, I want you to use our Matcha Boost. That's the protein treatment for your highlights. Now, how often are you highlighting?
Just twice a year.
Okay, perfect. Easy breezy then. So I would say not even every week for the Matcha Boost, then maybe once a month, the same day that you do the mud pie, then do the Matcha Boost there because you're not highlighting a terrible amount. But then yes, icing on the cake is the orange marm for you. That will enhance those waves. I see you light up, but yes, you chose right. You will love it. And what I want you to do to really enhance these waves is make sure you apply it on your hair when it's soaking wet. Okay. Apply it in sections. So divide your hair into fours, into a quadrant, wreck it into each section. You want to hear like a sound, like a squishing sound. And then really scrunch, 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 scrunch. I want you to use a diffuser. I bet you use the air dry because you're low maintenance. But if you really want to enhance those waves, use a diffuser because then you can push the cup up to the root and the orange marbles to help it kind of hold the curl pattern there. So just kind of do that all over your hair, even flip your hair upside down and scrunch up that way. And then you can let it air dry the rest of the way. That's fine. But the more that you use a diffuser to really, because your hairs, because the strands are pretty coarse, so they're going to want to weigh it down. So what we want to do is to use gravity to our liking, to our benefit, flip the hair over, hold it up there, and kind of let it set there. That's what we're trying to do.
I love it. This makes perfect sense to me because, like I said, I spent way too much time on your Instagram. So I've already seen the video tutorials
Okay,
where
so
the girls in the shower are showing the procedure.
yeah.
So I understand that. I do have a diffuser, so totally good with that. And I am excited because every single product that you just mentioned has made me hungry just with the name alone. So I'm glad I'm going to eat lunch after this conversation. But with that said, while I'm doing my own shopping, please tell our listening audience where they can find you online so they too can partake in the deliciousness that is this Ecoslay.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys can find us online at ecoslay.com and we are at Ecoslay on all social handles. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you can find us all over the place.
Yes, and if you have any questions at all about how to do these procedures that she has just outlined, please go watch their Instagram reels and their TikToks because I mean these girls have gorgeous hair, way curlier than mine. But I'm just like, yes, I could get way more curl in my hair. And with that said, this has been so much fun. And I also just want to point out before we got online
Yeah.
or before we started recording, you had said to me, oh, usually the interviews are 30 minutes. I said, girl, we're going to start talking. We're not going to stop. And I literally have to like just pull the plug at this point because we have to go. But it was delightful to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I cannot wait to go try these products.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Wild Party Podcast. If you're an entrepreneur or professional who would like to be on this podcast, please visit boomtown.com boomtownmarketing.com and click on podcast. We believe that every business has the potential to change the world for good, and we want to support our community to help make the world more ethical, compassionate, and sustainable for all future generations to come. And if you're looking to build your business, no matter what level you're at now, request your free marketing consultation at boomtownmarketing.com and click Get Started.